Chapter 2. Shadrach. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. This familiar quote by Pierre Teilhard de Chardin became true for me in 1998 when I learned how to converse with Shadrach, a non-physical guide and teacher, the older, wiser, spiritual aspect of my physical self, my divinity within. He had always been in my head somehow. The name Shadrach had been floating through my awareness for as long as I could remember. He inhabited my thoughts and had all my life. So teasing his individual presence from the matrix of my mind was a profound transition that opened up a brand new world to me. We conversed, sometimes on the computer and sometimes just in my head, and my world cracked wide open, expanding to the size of the universe. His answers were clear and made sense and radiated with unconditional love. He gave me advice on many subjects, exhorting me, "Life waits for no one to be a better person tomorrow. Whatever your plans for change and evolution, charge ahead with them." Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do all that Shadrach suggested. Though he was filling my mind with wisdom and encouragement, I rarely found the focus or will to put it into practice for more than a few seconds at a time. I realize now that this was because channeled words have a specific quality of energetic vibration that speaks directly to our spirits. Our lives, however, are mostly not run by our spirits. A changing stream of selves with differing needs and wants. Our minds, our hearts, our bodies, our egos, our training, our inner wounded children, and so on, run our lives. And they are all of different vibrations. The spiritual journey is the process of getting all parts of ourselves on the same vibrational frequency and aligned to a higher purpose. For me, this is like trying to train a ragtag army into a unified force that acknowledges the Spirit's authority. Shadrach affirmed the magic of earthly life for me. He said, "There is always meaning in things if you search for it. Your life will be filled with joy and emotion to a dizzying extent." With this knowledge, the world around me became a conscious, living being, infused with loving connections and communications. My heart opened to the birds, trees, and flowers, and they began to convey messages. I felt my intuition strengthen, and magic return to my life, which my traditional education and reliance on science alone had so effectively dulled. Before my spiritual awakening, I had been one of the "I need to see it to believe it" folks. As I opened to the Spirit's presence in my life, my heart opened. I found myself crying at the simplest things, such as the beauty of sunlit dewdrops on the grass, or a story in the newspaper about people helping other people. Shadrach encouraged me to slow down, to be more present, and to use my time in a different way. I learned to be still, both physically and internally, more than I ever had before. One theme reappeared often. He said, "The best thing for you to be is joyous." "I will try," I replied, "but sometimes it's a struggle to find that place of joy." And he said, "The place you will find it is within, not without. Go within. Be quiet in yourself. Make time for prayer and concentration. Make time to be still and sit in wonder of the web of life as you have come to know it. This will help you find your joy." I realize now that joy opens up communication with our divine selves, and that's really the whole point. This was counter to what I was taught. In my Puritan heritage, the focus was on duty. Joy wasn't spoken of or valued for the potent energy that it brings to life. All life is one. One day as I was driving, I asked why so many animals were killed on the road. Shadrach said they were offering themselves as a reminder that they are present in the land, and they wish to be considered when we do things that affect them. I wished I could help them to convey this message more succinctly. It was also a relief to hear that the animals had chosen to die in this way. Afterward, instead of feeling sad when I saw a furry lump on the road, I felt a surge of gratitude for each animal's communication to us and its ultimate sacrifice. I wanted to honor the animals, so I asked what I could say that would do that, and Shadrach replied, "All life is one. May you be blessed." I say that whenever I pass an animal on the road now. Shadrach's words enabled me to see beyond the seemingly harsh physical evidence of life to a purposeful perspective in which I understood that things were happening for a reason. It gave me a lighter perspective about life, and also helped me to realize that from the vantage point of our spirits, death is an illusion. Our bodies may die, but there is a part of us that continues to live on. Adding the dimension of the non-physical to my world gave me more choices about how to respond to life, and my perspective shifted from seeing Earth close up to seeing her from a greater vantage point. The change gave me an intense awareness of the bigger picture being enacted on Earth, while also opening my heart and causing tears to flow whenever something that expressed our unity came to my attention. The time I spent in communication with Shadrach allowed me to consider the invisible world around me. It became evident to me over time that the world we see is just a fraction of reality. Simply hearing his explanations about things and experiencing the expansion of my perspective that Shadrach engendered made me see how blind I had been. There is so much more to this world than I had ever imagined. I realized that everything is connected. Everything. And the repercussions of that were mind-boggling. If everything is connected, then it's all one thing. I wanted to feel connected to that one thing. But like most people, I was circling around the creations of the One, the divinity, and what I craved was union with it. I wanted to be in sacred connection with everything around me, the trees, the grass, the people, the teapot even, and to do that, I had to look from the inside, as though I were wearing God's spectacles. So I wrote notes and pasted them around my home to remind me that said, God's perspective in all things. Looking from the perspective of the One or the Source, I became part of it, and from that place, the feeling that I had searched for was present. Experiencing wholeness from inside of the Source makes you feel whole. Try it. When I finally saw this, it reminded me of searching everywhere for my glasses and finding them on my head. An exercise for seeing all as one. Take an object that you are near right now and imagine that it is a part of you. See its essence as the same as your own. Focus on that which is the same in everything as you look at it. Remember the illustrations in school of electrons circling an atom and all that empty space between the electrons? That empty space is the same in everything. Can you soften the definition of who you are and expand it to include the object you are looking at? Then try it with something else. And then again with something else. Then include the whole room. Know that the items and spaces are you. Can you observe a change in how you feel and how you relate to everything else when you do this? Stop the tape for a moment and practice this. Training for a new kind of work. Sowing seeds of love. Shadrach's perspective was expansive. He said, disassociate yourself with the human condition and think only in terms of the universe. I did find I had a predilection for seeing the big picture, and when I did, I realized how the details of daily life seemed uninteresting. A few months after I began formally communicating with Shadrach, he intimated that a big change was coming in our work. I could never have dreamed possible what laid ahead. On April 7th, 1999, I received this from him. I want to talk to you about your visionary journeying. It is something that you will be doing more of as time goes on, and my hope is that you will find it educational and enjoyable. The way for you to start is to envision yourself high above the stars so that you can see down to the surface of the earth. You will then try to see and imagine the blockages that are a part of the system of earthly energy. The earth is a very changeable place. She can be warm or cold, happy or disrupted, and much of its state is determined by the status of her energy flows. You have the capability to affect the Earth's energy blockages through meditation. It's hard to believe and imagine, perhaps, but it is true. You must think of yourself as a person of great power and potential impact, for you can make a difference on a global level. You must start by seeing the Earth from above. Envision areas of strife and discord like Bosnia, and then work within yourself to open those areas. You can do this by envisioning joy and brotherhood between enemies. You can do this by sending light and energy to the people in these places who are being hurt and terrorized. The possibilities are really endless. The Earth's energy and its flows affect how the people living upon her feel and act, and when the land's energy is blocked, I imagine it's kind of like having a pebble in your shoe, a low-level irritant. When it is flowing and harmonious, the people who live there feel more at ease. That would explain why certain parts of the earth have been in turmoil repeatedly throughout history. Shadrach trained me to see where the energy flow of the earth was blocked and to remedy it. We humans are only aware of a fraction of our capability to create. I would wake up very early, between 4 and 6 in the morning, before my children got up, and sit cross-legged on the floor, leaning against the bed, with my laptop in my lap, and do meditations that Shadrach trained me to do. When I got up to start my day later on, I felt like all my work for the day was complete. Everything else paled in comparison to the satisfaction I felt having completed those meditations in the morning. The contrast was marked. From feeling like I could never get enough done in a day, I shifted to a peaceful knowledge that all was perfect and nothing more was needed. This feeling was of true work, well done. It satisfied me deeply.